Hello, guys. I'm Pastor Ed Milad with Pastor Way. Today, we're going to be talking and concentrating on something that is really important for not just a network marketing business, but for any business whatsoever. It's following up. How many times have we put a lot of sweat and tears into explaining the company to a particular person, a client, prospect, you name it, family, friend, and then all of a sudden we just get busy and we don't follow up. And so today, I thought about what would be a good presentation to show and to put together. And actually, it took it's taken me a little bit quicker now than what I used to prepare it. So I prepared it last night. Well, actually, it was early this morning, like before like any of you guys, probably in the REMs. But anyhow, I prepared it. I liked it. I think it's really cool. The colors are beautiful. Again, they will be available for you. All you have to do is ask in the chat. I will place the PowerPoint Canva presentation. And I also have the form for your contacts. So the form is really important. The form is separate, of course. It's you're going to be able to print two contacts per page, and you can print front and back if you'd like to, so that you can have this form and you can do your special following up with your clients and your the people that you had spoken to about any business. If you don't know who I am, I'm Pastor Ed Milad, and I love making this training, these videos to better myself, first of all, and also to share it with the world. So that is the call that I have in my life, is just to bless the people of God. And I just hope that you guys are blessed with it today. Stay tuned towards the end of the presentation. I will be giving that format to you guys. So let me go ahead and share my screen and start the presentation. All right, so the presentation is called The Power of the Follow-Up. And how important it is to follow up is it matters so much. Why? Because people need time to process the information that you have given them, right? They have questions that they want answers for them. And also this builds a consistency, right? And trust that you need to create with your clients and with the people that you want to sell or give you service to. So it's really important. It matters because, people get busy, things happen in life, and whether you know it or not, people, life gets in the way. But if you are there to follow up with them, they know that you care. They know that you want to build a relationship and that you want to share your technology, your service, and anything that you want to move through them, right? Anything that you want to share with them. So what I like to do is something that I like to call is to build a relationship first. And why is this important? It's important because you need to listen to the people that you are servicing. You need to remember their names. In a couple videos, I'm going to post a video in the description here that could give you that remembrance and how to remember people's names. Really important. It's very personal. And so, just a little quick recap. When you meet somebody, when you go to a restaurant or you meet somebody for dinner or lunch or whatever, ask them their names 3 times as when you first meet with them. And do this, practice it with the waiter or the waitress, right? Ask them what their name is. And then tell them, something about that you remember, whether it's the hair, the makeup, the nails, whatever, their shoes, compliment them and again, repeat their name. And then afterwards, make sure you say, it was great meeting you, and then you repeat the name. And that way you'll remember because you're saying it a few different times and you're correlating with something that they wore or something that brought to mind. So it's really important to remember that. Also, remember that you're serving people. We are in the business of serving, okay? And we're in a business also of a servant leadership. So that it's different than just being served. It's more blessed, even the word tells us to give than to receive, right? To serve is more blessing and also inviting them. So when you care about people, the people know that you you care because the actions that you are doing through a presentation, whether it is you sharing a technology with them, whether you're trying to sell them insurance or anything whatsoever, this comes first, a relationship. So care about a person before the decision is being made. And why is that? Because you're building a relationship. I'll tell you a little story about what happened with me yesterday. I was with a client and I was telling them all about, life and how I met my wife and the things that had happened to me in the jewelry store. And all of a sudden I said, I don't know why I'm sharing all this stuff with you. I just felt really comfortable with this couple that I was having an appointment with. And so they opened up and they started sharing stuff about them and what it would normally be a 10-minute conversation. It was ended up to be like an hour and a half because we were just going back and forth and just enjoying our time together and building that relationship. So I think that before you try to share or sell anything to anybody, build a relationship with them. Why do people may not respond immediately? Okay. This is important to know because we may just want to be like those Labrador retrievers and just fall on people and just say, here's all the information, blah, 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 blah. And you have to take it easy, right? So when you give a lot of information to people and sometimes with our technology, it's a little bit not difficult, but it's a little trying because it's different. It's not a lotion or a potion. It's not some pill that you can swallow. It's a technology. It's something that you post on or put on your body, right? So it may take time. They might need time. They might get busy. They might need more information, right? And as they need more information, they're going to be contacting you and you'll be able to share that information with them. They may be discussing with their family members, a husband or a wife or a father, mother, or whatever. So all these things correlate to why they are not responding immediately. You may say, me, if you only knew, right? Because we know what this technology does for us. We want to share it with the world and we're very excited about it, but they may not be ready for it yet. And we have to keep that in mind that not everybody, even though we're enthusiastic about this technology, not everybody may be. So that is why they might not respond correctly. Now, when should you follow up? This is something that a question that comes to me and comes to my mind all the time. How often should we follow up, right? So what I do, and this is just a practice that I've been doing for years of following up in all the businesses that I get involved with, I send them a thank you note. Even before I leave the parking lot, if I go to meet with somebody, I get on my phone before I even turn the car on and I tell them, great meeting you today. It was awesome. Thank you for taking the time of meeting with me today, right? And what that does is that creates you're extending that relationship. You're extending that time and that conversation that you're having with your clients. You reconnect with them in a few days, right? Now, some people might want to reconnect like right away. If you are sharing the technology with somebody and you patch them during the day and they're wearing the technology for 12 hours and they wait and you want to follow up the next day. You don't want to just wait a couple of days because you want to know how, first of all, how they slept, how do they feel? And don't ask them, did your pain go away? Because we're not in the business of removing pain or discomfort in the body. We're in the business of using this technology to help people have a better quality of life. And so when we say, oh, I'm going to remove the discomfort, all the discomfort out of your body, forget about it. They're going to find pain and discomfort in their big toe, and so they're going to be like, well, the discomfort in my head is gone or my shoulder's gone, but my big toe's still hurting. So that is not what we want to do, right? But when we will connect with them in a couple of days after you patch them, you can share something helpful with them, share a video, and then keep the communication going. And I'll through this presentation, I'm going to show you different examples, different ideas, and how to keep that communication going with your client and with your prospect, and then give him a little space. Okay. Again, don't be like, you're so excited for them to try this technology that you're going to just jump on them and give them everything all at once because people can't digest it. Just like I can't digest a 32-ounce steak, and which I love steak. they can't digest all this information, right? So take your time. So what do you say after a video call that you do with them or a Zoom? There's a couple of things that stand out. For what I would say to them, first of all, is what stood out the most out of this video that you share with them or out of the Zoom that they have been with you. The second thing I say, what kind of questions do you have in mind? Because see, they might not have the questions when you're giving and using the technology to them because it's so new, right? But they'll have a question later. And so what comes in mind, what kind of questions did you gather out of this information? Because they'll start having questions. What would you like to understand better? This is another really good question that you can ask them. And lastly, here is what would you like to explore, or would you like to explore the next step, which leads them to the sale, right? So those are kind of things that you can say about to them after you send them a video, after you send them a corresponding. And we have tons of testimonials that what we need to do is put together an idea or something that the particular person that you've spoken to having issues with, connect them with the person or connect them with a testimonial with their issue, right? So if they tell you that they have a discomfort in their feet, right? Because they're waiters or waiters and they're up in their feet all the time, don't send them a testimonial about something that's totally different than that, right? Kind of focus on that. And we've, through our different websites and different testimonials, our YouTube page, you can find all those testimonials. So copy, paste it, and send it to them. When you send them the video, don't just forget about them. And I'm glad that we were able here on this call to create a workbook and a form that will keep the conversation, that will keep all these things in the back of your mind. So asking meaningful questions. This is really good because this strikes the interest. What caught your attention, right? What the need that they might have is what would you like to support with? And this again, you're not you're not telling them that this technology is going to diagnose, treat, or prevent any diseases. We're not talking about that. We're not giving the questionnaires like they give it to us at the doctor's office. We're just asking meaningful questions. Another concern that you may have, what do you have? What kind of concerns do you have? And those are open-ended questions because what that does is that leaves them to give you exactly what you need. So what you're doing is you paving the road for them so that you can manage exactly what they're going to receive. Because if you don't send them information, trust me, brothers and sisters, if you don't send them information, they're going to go to the www.google.com and they're going to find all the bad PR or anything that has nothing to do with your business, they're going to find it, right? And then, of course, they're going to concentrate on that. And, I saw somebody have going through reviews and those reviews, Trustpilot, those things are very helpful. And there was a business that had like 10,000 reviews, which is really good, right? And maybe had one or 10 bad reviews. And so some people might concentrate on those bad reviews, but what I want you to look at is like, look at this 10,000 other good reviews, right? So make sure that you compare them and they can understand what they're looking at. And that's why you're asking this question so that you can lead them to the right answers. You might be talking to a great athlete, right? And they might want to know if there is anything to do with doping using this technology. And just so happens that on our back office, we have an anti-doping letter that you can send to them from the Olympics committee, right? So that is really important to know so that you can gear that answer to them, right? So it all depends who you're talking to. And of course, this can be, you can continue adding to this, but this is just a good start as you continue that relationship with them. And so you follow up also with that pressure. There's no significant rush to do anything, right? Ask them for their permission. Ask them, would it be helpful if I check back with you? So what you're doing is you're opening the conversation, you're opening the relationship so that they can say, of course. Most people are going to say, of course, no problem. Yes, get back to me. Choices that they may have. Would you prefer more information or a quick conversation? This is really good. I don't know, Dr. Caroline does this very well. Instead of sending texts or emails, she said, do you want to jump on the Zoom with me for 10, 15 minutes? And I'll answer all the questions that you may have. I have an opening here for you either at 8 o'clock tonight or 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, something like that. And so you're given two options, a daytime and a nighttime. That way they might be working early in the morning, but you give them a little bit later time after the dinner where they come home from work, and you have those choices, right? And also space. Take your time. I'm here when you are ready. Now, I have another slide that we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts, what not to say and what to say. And some of it, what we need to do is we need to create ourselves that we are important. Our time is very, very important to us. And so you need to let people know that the time that you're spending with them now, of course, not being, modest or trying to be big-headed about, oh, I'm so important. No, it's not like that. But let them understand that your time is precious, just like their time is precious and their time is important. So is your time, right? So responding to common concerns like listening, clarifying, applying the answers simply, and confirm understandings. Now, never argue with a customer. Always seek understanding, right? So as you are opening up those concerns that they may have, take this, for instance, listen to that concern, clarify their concern. So if somebody says, I take a particular medicine, and with that, letting you guys know here in the video what kind of medicine it is or whatever, some customers might be interested. Is there any contraindications? So you listen to the question, right? And then you repeat that question to them. You can say, Mary, are you saying that because you take this medication, you're concerned about using this technology? What you're doing is that you're repeating that question so you make sure that that questions that they have is the correct way so you can answer it correctly, right? And they might clarify, they might say, no, it's not like this. This is the way that I'm asking you. And so that way you have better understanding of what you're talking about, the concerns, the questions that they have. Now, answer simply. Answer simple ways of answering. Don't try to make something like you have to be a PhD in medicine to be or anything to be able to understand the question or the answer that you're given to them. Make it simple, right? Because people like simple. And then confirm the understanding that you know what they're asking, and after you give them the answer, you say, did I answer your questions? Does that suffice you with the question that you may have? Why is that important? It's because you're confirming that they understood and you guys are in the same boat, right? Of understanding. Now, know when to continue or to pause. Now, this is important because you might think that you giving information, and guess what? Your client might not want questions, right? Might not want that information that you're giving to them. So what you're doing is that you're just wasting your time, wasting their time, and ultimately they just going to look at your text or email or phone or whatever and just block you, right? Because you're giving too much information. So you have to know when and it's a very thin line to walk on, and so we have to be very understanding of how we're going to do that, right? When do we continue? And this is a couple things that are really good to know when we should continue. When they ask questions. If your client's still asking questions, then you'll continue the conversation. I had a friend of mine from school that wanted to sell some insurance, life insurance or whatever. And I was asking them a lot of questions, and he was just so great at giving me all the answers because I was truly interested. Now, if I didn't ask any questions, why is he going to give me answers to something that I haven't given him any questions for, right? So it's kind of like, duh, it just makes common sense. They request more information. right? When not just asking questions, now they're asking you for information. And that's a good sign that you want to continue that relationship and you will continue that selling process. And lastly, they agree to reconnect. When they reconnect, that means that you better have an application on hand, or something that you can write so that you have all the information. You have their credit card information, you have their addresses, you have all the information that you need in order to fill the application. And don't put it into memory. Write things down because what it does, it shows that you are prepared, right? Now, as I was saying earlier, I went to sign somebody up for my mom, one of my mom's brand partner, and I was ready. I We had that brand partner had patched this particular customer, and they said, we need you to come in for 15, 20 minutes to talk with you with our client. That was the reconnection. Why? Because they had already patched her. She already knew the technology that it was working. And so I was there. I make sure that I had my folder, I had the application, I had a couple little handouts that I could give to her, and we signed her up, right? Because I was ready. Now, if I went on that appointment and I didn't have an application, that means I was not ready. That means I was not ready to finish that appointment, right? So be mindful of all these things. Have something ready. Keep it in your car. Paper doesn't go bad. It's not a patch, right? So you can have stuff all over with you at all times. Now, when to pause, because it's really important to do this too. They clearly decline to talk to you, or okay, they start responding to you and they ask for if do you would you want to give them more time. So be concerned, be respectful, right? And as you're being respectful, they see that, hey, this person could be really cool to work with. This person's really nice to be able to order this technology from. And that's really important because, again, you're building that relationship. The relationship is really important when it comes to this technology. Now, don't say this. Okay. Now, this is the slide that I was telling you, the things that you're not to say and the things that you are to say. And I'm going to explain to you why. Don't say just checking in. No pressure at all. I'm here if you have any questions. It may sound good. It may sound very comfortable as a question, right? To follow up. But what you're doing is that you're letting them know that your time is really not that important, right? And what you're doing is really, it's not that important either. So just checking in, don't use that. And I'll give you some words and some examples that you can follow up with. I do not want to overwhelm you. That's the second one here. I'll give you some space, but my door is always open. So what that does is that it doesn't create that excitement. It doesn't create that, you're here to share something incredible with them. It doesn't create confidence, right? Because you're just like, I want to just give you space. I know that it's, and it all sounds good, right? But it's not showing that your time is important. And the reason I'm saying this, that your time and your time and your time is important, when people realize that your time is important, then they'll pay attention to you because they know that you only have a few minutes of your time to spend with them, right? And the last one here is, I understand the timing is not right. Feel free to reach out whenever you are ready. So what you're doing is you leaving that open door, and guess what? Um, I met a client also that had over 10,000 texts that they haven't responded to. What that told me is that never text that person because she'll never respond back. And she'll never respond to an email either. So a phone call will be a good way of communicating with that person, right? Understanding their way of learning or the way that they want to talk to you. Now, be assertive. And this is something that you can say to them. I have reached out a few times, so I will close the loop here. If you decide that this is something you want to explore, just let me know, right? So this is something that when somebody stops responding to you, you're closing the loop, right? And you're letting them know that you're going to move on to somebody else because your time is important. Another thing is it seems that timing is not right. and that is completely fine. If your priorities change, you know how to reach me, right? Because you've been communicating with them. So again, this tells you that you are respecting of their time, but you're going to move on, right? And people hate to be at the end of the parade. People hate to lose. And so what you're giving them a time right here is closing the loop, watching their time because your time is important as well. And the last one here is I'm going to step back from now. Now, I wouldn't send all of these all at once. So pick one, right? And you can change it up a little bit as you see, please. I'm going to step back for now. If you're ready to continue the conversation later, feel free to contact me, right? You leave that in their court and you move on. And most of the times I'll tell you a really quick story. I'm doing good with time. I'm almost finished. That I was trying to get a hold of this incredible person that I had met, that I knew this technology. She shared this and brought a couple clients and a couple brand partners into the business, but she didn't want anything to do with the business anymore. Something had happened in her family, and it just took all her time. And so I was talking to the person that sponsored her, and she finally told me, she said, Pastor Ed, you're wasting your time because this person is never going to change. It's never going to do the business like you think that they're going to do. Spend your time with the people that want to run with you. And that really woke me up because, we do spend an enormous amount of energy and time talking to people that we think that are going to buy our products or services, and they don't. So you move on. And so these are examples of ideas and things that you can share with them to move on. Now, here's the form and here's the system that I was talking to you about earlier. Have their names, the interests, the questions, the last conversations that you have, and the next step that you're going to do. It's a simple system that creates consistency. And that's what we want to do. We want to create consistency as we're taking people through this follow-up system. Here's the form that I was telling you about. You have the contact name, you have their phone numbers, email, whatever they like to prefer. Remember, I told you that some people don't like texts, the 10,000 texts. I have over 100,000 emails so don't email me because unless you're going to text me that you email me, I won't check it, right? Um, you have their email address there. You have their status if they want to continue, if they want to pause the conversation, or you completed them and you made them a preferred customer plus or a brand partner. So those are the things that you can check there for you. Now, interests or goals. You can write their interests that they have, whether it is that they just want to be healthy, they want to have a good health and wellness routine, and so forth. You can write it here. Questions or concerns that they have, jot this stuff down. Why you need to jot this stuff down? Because 10, 20 days from now, you are not going to remember. If you're prospecting and talking to hundreds of people every week or every month, these things are going to get murky, right? So that's why it's really good to write it down. The last conversation date, when you last talked to them, put a date there, right? And the next follow-up date, if you set up a time, you can say, hey, would it be okay that I follow up with you if after you patch them or whatever, next month, next week, tomorrow? Put the date there, and you can make it small, and you can put a slash on it. You put another date when you meet with them again if you were to meeting them. Now, you shouldn't have to meet with somebody two or three times. Um, there might be some things that happen in life that you're going to do that, but if you're spending three, four, five times meeting with that person, that you are just wasting time. So it's time to move on. And the next step and the notes that you can have over here. So this is a complete replica of it. I have this PDF, and it's a form of 8.5 by 11 sheet. This looks big like for the presentation, but I have it nice and neat that you can print it and you can have it with you or share it with people. Now, the turning interest into action. Now, what I like to do, what I'm showing you here is how customers can become brand partners, right? Choose a comfortable starting point. Most people we talked about this with David and Mary a couple of times that At the beginning, we wanted to bring everybody into the business as business partners. We kind of found out there's a lot of people that don't want to do the business. All they want to do is just use the technology, so make them customers. But there is a time and a turning point for those people to become brand partners. And you know that. Why? Because they want to learn more. They're sharing this with their families and people around them, and they want to build a support. So everybody loves communities. Everybody loves to be a part of something bigger than themselves. So that's when you're moving them into this. And you may say, hey, this may be something that may work for you, it may not, but how about if we give it a shot? I'll send you an invitation for a community meeting that we're having. We have 24 days, guys, before we meet the Light Experience event that we're gonna have here in our town. So write this names down that you're inviting people to it because we want this to be a really great event, right? And if you don't know about the event, let us know at the end of this presentation and we'll give you that information. And lastly, follow-up challenge. Choose 3 people that you've reached out to and that have genuine care and interest on. Ask them one meaningful question, those questions that we have had here in the beginning of the presentation. Listen for their response and record the next step. So you're constantly always meeting after meeting after meeting is part of this follow-up because you're constantly meeting. Like even after conference, we always talk about when we're going to meet next. After a meeting that we have locally, when we're going to meet next, because it's important to meet face to face with people. We with after the pandemic, we all became hermits and did Zoom a lot. Well, the times have changed and we can get out now and enjoy the weather and be a part of that, right? To do one-on-one conversations with people. It's really good. So the fortune may be in the follow-up, but the relationship must always be first. As you build a relationship with people, it's so much easier for them to share and to use the technology that you want to share them with. If you are not building a relationship, it'll be a wall come up and you'll be beating yourself against that wall and they're not bringing it down. So I'm done with the conversation. I'm going to finish. I'm going to stop my share here and we're going to continue this conversation uh, with those that are on the call here. But I want to share this with you that if you want this conversation, this presentation, just give me send me a message and I'll be glad to email it to you and send it to you on your way. As you saw, there is no networking names or anything, so anybody can use it. I believe that sharing is caring, right? So when we share with others, it's more blessing to give than to receive. So again, I want to thank you guys for being on the call tonight. Thank you for listening to us. If you find that this type of training is enjoyable and you're meaningful and you're learning things, please hit the subscribe button and until we see each other next time. God bless you and take care. Bye-bye.